Hey guys, this is Marcus the Gravelholic, and this is what you're going to learn about today.
And we do everything on our bike and create the whole video and edit everything live. And so I was like, no, we were not lucky. Personally, what I like about gravel is like it has a lot of aspects that I like in life. It has the traveling, it has going out of your comfort zone. There is the adventure in it. For me, it's way more than just riding a bike.
Okay, now let's get on with the full interview and show with Nol from Fat Pigeon. Here he comes. Hi and welcome, Nol. How are you today?
I'm very fine. I'm warming up again after an expedition on the bike through Norway. So I'm now in the cozy warmth of my living room. So I'm doing well.
That was actually one of the first questions that I want to ask you. Like, how are you? Just saw the previous content that you just made. Now, I mean, it just looked insane. Can you just tell me what was that trip?
Yeah, it was indeed very insane. The assignment was to shoot some promotional videos for an expedition over Greenland that will happen next year, coast to coast. Um, yeah, but it was just not possible to go to Greenland now. So we searched for locations in the world that look and feel quite similar to Greenland, and then we ended up somewhere in Norway, in the Finse area. There's a glacier over there, and yeah, we've been there for 4 days, going out on fat bikes with guys that are really experienced expeditioners, adventurers. Good Tom, the organizer, has already been doing this since 1984.
Wow.
So yeah, we were in good hands, but for us it was way out of our comfort zones, but that's what we like. So we went into the
Oh,
snow, tried to reach the glacier, didn't manage to reach it. We failed, but we had a great adventure anyway. Camping outdoors in the snow. I mean, in a tent, but yeah, it was brutal. Conquering snowstorms. Yeah, being out there without really knowing what to do, what not to do. It was a beautiful experience, and we survived. So that's also.
And I mean, we can go to your Instagram page. That's at Fat Pigeon. So for everyone that listens and watches this, that please do that. But where can we find the real content within quotes, like when this is going to be edited and
It will be on
public?
the C2C.bike Instagram
Uh huh.
mainly. We'll also share it on our Fatpigeon.cc Instagram as well. But yeah, it will be. I think later next week that we'll have the first real edits ready.
That's so cool. But
Yeah.
let's back up a couple of seconds here. I started following Fat Pigeon. That is some time ago, actually. I think you were one of the first really um, big inspirations to me when I started using Instagram for like 4 years ago or so. And it's been such an amazing thing to follow your guys' journey and what you guys have been doing. And just I get goosebumps when I think about all the things that I've seen that you guys have done. So and then being able to, and this is a little bit of a backstory why we're here today as well. Like me following you guys, and then us or I'm me reaching out basically that you coming to Hamstad to do the gravel grit and grind, and we got to meet in person. I was so freaking starstruck. It was so incredible. So no, it's
Stop
been
it.
such an incredible thing. So we're just so that's I'll probably give you a little bit more kudos later, but again, a super inspiration, and that's why I think also why I wanted to have you guys or you now know on this to be interviewed, because I want to be able to give people inspiration and help them to learn things. And so listening to you now might inspire people to do some of those things that you guys have been doing or similar, to go both on the kind of trips, but also on the kind of side of things where what you create and what you are actually doing. So, but that brings me back to my first question. Sort of, what is Fat Pigeon? What is that?
Yeah, sorry, I've no words. I'm completely humbled by your kind words. Thanks for that. Thank you very much. Um, what is Fat Pigeon? We're actually a collective of adventurers, and we are just here to show the world, like in a positive way, that if you just go out there, no matter if it's like around the corner of your house or is it the other side of the world, if you just go and say yes to stuff, that will always enrich your life, either way, left or right. But you just have to go out there and get out of your comfort zone, because it will always bring you a lot more than it will cost you. So yeah, we are just here to show people to just do it.
That's super cool.
But
But
yeah,
what
the
what's
slogan "Just Do It" was already covered by a different brand. So
yeah. I think I know which one you mean.
yeah,
Uh, all right. But tell me, sort of, before we go to the backstory, and maybe it's part of the backstory of Fat Pigeon, but just the name Fat Pigeon. What kind of crazy name is that for a collective?
yeah. The name comes actually from a crazy guy. He was our team manager of my road cycling team. He was the dad of one of my best friends, and I was racing on the road, and I was always in every breakaway, except from the one that eventually really got away, and then I got in like 47th or 38th, I don't know. And after the race, people came to me and they said like, "Oh, you were the strongest guy in the race today." I was like, "Yeah, bummer, because I didn't finish with the top 10." And it just happened every week. And the team manager, he saw it happening every week, and he said, "No, you know what you should do." So I was like very seriously listening to him, and he said, "You should keep an eye out on the fat pigeons." And I still didn't know what he meant with that. It was just like a crazy thing in his mind. But he called the fat pigeons like the strongest guys in the race. He said, "Yeah, they're actually only, if you start with 150 guys, there's only 5 guys that are actually both strong and smart enough to actually win the
Hmm.
race."
Yeah.
And he said, "You have the power, but you need to be more smart. So keep an eye out on the fat pigeons, and don't waste your energy on 20 useless attacks, but save your energy for that one big attack." So I started doing that. He was always shouting at the side of the road like fat pigeons," just to remind me to save my energy. If he was not there, he texted me in capital letters, "Fat pigeons." Um, so yeah, I started doing that, saving my energy, and I started winning local crits and then international races and stage races. So yeah, it
Awesome.
worked out for me to chase the fat pigeons, and so yeah, now in our yeah, we thought it was just a funny name, of course,
Yeah, of course.
and in our business we now use it for, if you do it well, and yeah, don't waste your energy on a lot of small stuff, but do it, go big or go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that how did Fat Pigeon start then? Right? Where I guess I mean myself. I only do all my Instagram and social media and stuff like that on the hobby, right? But you do this full time now, right? As I understand it. So how did
Yes.
you come up with this, and where did it come from?
Well, I had these two friends, also super passionate bike riders, and already for I think 2 or 3 years before we started, we were sending each other like videos or photo projects, or we were sending stuff to each other like, "Oh, how cool would it be if we can ever do stuff like this?" Because we just like cycling videos, cycling photos, um, traveling with your bike. So we were like that for a couple of years, and then COVID hit. So we thought, okay, this is our opportunity. Let's do something crazy, because we felt that a lot of people in the world were like complaining about the situation, but we felt like, oh, it's actually really nice that we just go out and explore around our doorstep, because the rest is not possible anymore. We felt that we were different in a way that we were looking at the possibilities instead of what was not possible anymore, and therefore we had actually quite a really nice time adventuring together. And then we came up with, I think Lawrence Tendam, he came up with this challenge because Unbound was cancelled. Back then it was still called Dirty
Exactly.
Cancelled, and he came up
Yep.
with this challenge called Dirty Cancelled. So we thought, with the three of us, like, it could be nice for the sponsors of our team to do this challenge and to make like a campaign around it to give the sponsors the exposure that they actually get from races usually.
Hmm.
But yeah, so we got in touch with the team, but the team was not really feeling it. So we were like, okay, let's just do it for ourselves. So I think we got Continental tires on board. We got this clothing brand on board and a sock brand. Pvelo. Yeah, they basically just gave some free tires, some free socks, some free kit. Um, and yeah, we had a lot of time and a lot of energy because obviously there was COVID. So we thought, okay, we went to do a 360-kilometer ride, and we had it completely planned with which shots where, and a full crew with a following car, making a whole video about it. So yeah, that was actually our first like project. It was just a hobby
When
thing.
was this in 2020 or 2021 or
2020, yeah, in early 2020, I think April or May 2020.
holy moly? Yeah.
And yeah, we were basically just doing it next to our to yeah, I was working, my friends were still studying.
Hmm.
We were just doing it in our spare time. But I immediately felt like this is what really gives me energy. And at my work, I was just leaving my energy there.
Yeah.
um, but for this project, I really felt it was giving me energy. So that went well. That was a really nice adventure with friends, and we made a video about it. And the partners were also really happy with it. And for me personally, I was in a position with my work that I was like, is this it? Because before I was working all around the globe on really extreme projects as a civil
Hmm.
engineer. Then I decided to do a project in the Netherlands, and I just lost all my joy in work. And then this thing in my spare time popped up, and the partners were really happy. So then I was like, if they are really happy with something that gives me energy, why don't I just go for that? So I went to my former boss with that story, and he was like, "Yeah, we're really happy with your work, but if you want to follow your heart, just go for it, and you can always come back to us. So just follow your heart, and yeah, don't bother about your future, because if things don't work out, you can always come back." So that was actually the start of like Fat Pigeon as a company. From that moment onwards,
That's
I decided,
super
okay,
cool.
let's just go
That
do
is
it
so
full
so
time.
cool.
And then fairly soon, I got in touch with Luke. Luke was a friend from my student cycling team, from the university cycling team.
Hmm.
He was in the same kind of position as I was with work, and like, is this it? And why don't we go for more adventure? And he saw me conquering the highest peaks of the Alps on my gravel bike during office hours. So he was like, well, what is happening here? So I think that was early October,
Hmm.
and we decided with the two of us, okay, we until Christmas we don't have to earn anything. We'll just go for it. We just create stuff. We improve our skills. We improve our network, and then at Christmas we'll decide, okay, is this going to work? Yes or no.
Hmm.
But I think already after 2 or 3 weeks, we found out, like, okay, this is going to work.
Cool. And
That was the start of Fat Pigeon.
that's awesome. And just may I touch upon sort of the monetization? How do you make money with this? So can you tell me what how does that work? The dynamics with the partners, and like, do you pitch
Yes.
projects to them, or do they come to you, or what? Maybe there's a multitude of different variants.
Unfortunately, partners don't really come to us. So
Yet.
99% of the times it comes from our side. Um, so that's a lot of work, but therefore you can work with partners, obviously, that you choose. So that's the
Hmm.
positive side. Um, Basically, our product is content, media actually, video, photo, copywriting, and route building. So
Hmm.
those four types of content, and 90% of what our clients pay for gets to them, and we don't post it on our Instagram. So a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
people from the outside think that our Instagram is our business, and they don't know how we make
Exactly.
money out of it. But it's actually, we are a media slash marketing company.
Hmm.
So we set up projects together with our partners, and we deliver them the media of it, and we show the tip of the iceberg on our Instagram. And since our Instagram grew, obviously there's also value in showing it on our Instagram.
Yeah,
But that's not our real main income.
that's
So we,
awesome. Do you want to
so we
share, do
basically
a
have
shout
three,
out?
three types of three types of clients. We have brands in the cycling industry, like Ridley Bikes or Estiondo clothing.
Hmm.
Then we have gravel events. that we make like after movies and social content for, like the Ride Gravel. Um, and then we have tourism boards. That could be more local stuff, like our own municipality here in Tilburg in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
But we also worked in Uganda to promote adventurous tourism, or in Luxembourg, or in the Nordics. So yeah, basically all those three clients, they get gravel content from us, and we make everything from the bike. So that's what is the difference between us and like a traditional videographer or photographer, that we make everything from the bike.
Exactly. And now with this big hype that's been ongoing for the last couple of years, I guess focusing on gravel has been kind of successful, right? You started off in the exact perfect time, it seems.
Yeah, that was not really on purpose. Um, for me, basically, I was always a roadie, and I think like 10 or 11 years ago, I bought this cyclocross bike, but I didn't like cyclocross, so I just used the cyclocross bike for my winter training, to just go out on unpaved roads and just explore new places, just as a winter thing, to mix it up.
Are you allowed to be Dutch and say that you don't like cyclocross? Is that like, or are you
Well,
swearing in the church?
it's not as holy here as it is 10 kilometers away in Belgium.
Belgium, yeah, even yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think I'm allowed to say. But and then COVID obviously hit, and then I was like, why not just do the same exploring also in better times of the
yeah,
year? Then I
yeah.
found out that it was even better actually. So I was completely hooked, and just like the rest of the world, chose my gravel bike more and more, and yeah.
But this is a sensitive topic for some people, but and I think it's such a diverse thing to say gravel, and I'm like that too, right? I have my preference, and what I think gravel is. But what's your perspective? What is gravel for you, Noel?
That's very hard to ask, to answer. I mean, yeah, for me, gravel is a way of like freedom, and a way of um, really being in nature instead of just riding around nature. It's I just love the way that it's way more relaxed. Um, on the other side, when I went, for example, to Halmstad, it was just basically road racing, but unpaved.
Yeah.
But for me personally, what I like about gravel is like it has a lot of aspects that I like in life. It has the traveling, it has going out of your comfort zone. There is the adventure in it. Yeah, for me, it's way more than just riding a bike. And I feel in road riding, it's way more about the performance side, and the watts, and the riding itself. But gravel to me is more like a way of living.
Yeah, but that's interesting because there's so many that when you ask that question and they reply to what kind of gravel. I mean, the surface. But I like your approach with thinking about it more as a lifestyle or yeah, but whatever spirit of gravel is nowadays.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
And I can clearly see that difference in mindset when I go out with, for example, roadie friends of mine. Then the whole experience on gravel is just way different,
Yeah.
because they're way more about speed, and about not taking any breaks, and just want coffee and go, and
Hmm.
the whole vibe around actual gravel and bikepacking and adventure cycling is just way more relaxed.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now, since these last couple of years, I mean, and you said that you brought your bike when you traveled the world as well. You've been around. What
Yeah.
what is the coolest place that you ever rode your bike? Where
Well,
was the best
technically,
experience?
technically coolest was, I think, last weekend. It was super
Okay.
cold. Yeah, I, I, that's nothing personal, but that's just a stupid question. I mean, it's
No, no.
so hard. I like the diversity.
Hmm.
The coolest place. Yeah, that's so hard,
What?
man.
Okay, let's rephrase.
That's
Which
true.
do you have? Do
Question
you
is
have a
too wide.
ride do you have a ride that you feel that that's when you got to this feeling of satisfaction, and that you felt blessed that you were in a certain spot, that you have a bit more sort of natural gravity to feel, okay, yeah, those happy thoughts,
Yeah,
and freedom that you mentioned before.
yeah. I think the thing that pops into my mind first is the finish of the Grand Grange Trail Ultra that we did. So Grand Grange is it's actually a route over the Canary Islands, and they have
Mm-hmm.
a road and a gravel and a trail version. And I think back in 2020 or 2021, we did the trail version on our gravel bikes. So we crossed 5 Canary Islands. All 5 have a completely different scenery. We did it day and night. It was an ultra, and it was such a great experience. And you're completely focused with this goal of finishing in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And then we reached the finish on La Palma, and the volcano was erupting. So we were like cycling on La Palma in the nighttime, and we could see like volcanic dust on the ground, and then it got darker and darker, and you felt the like sand between your teeth. And then we got closer to the finish, and you could smell the sulfur of the volcano. And then we got even closer, and the sky was completely like red because it was a bit hazy, and then the apparently lava yeah, started to illuminate the mist. And then when we actually reached the finish, it was like kind of lookout point, and you could see the lava flowing, and you could hear the buildering sound of the earth. And actually, when you reach the finish, you're supposed to be like completely hyped and completely out of your mind. But we reached it, and we were like, what is this? It was like actually like a disaster what was what was happening there. So we were like just silence. We just sat there for 30 minutes just watching.
Mm.
It's, yeah, super unreal feeling. But
Wow.
yeah, it was a very strange mix of emotions,
Mm-hmm.
because you've just finished one of the biggest things you've done until then. But on the other hand, you're watching this nature mystery thing, which is on one hand super beautiful and special to see, but on the other hand, it's also, yeah, very cruel actually, because people have to leave their homes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a
Now
super
that's
wild mix of emotions.
I can understand that. I can understand that. So for the people that's out there and they haven't sort of, maybe like me, they're not as adventurous. What's your? Do you have any recommendations? Sort of how to get started? What to think about? Anything peculiar that you have thought about that you learned that you can share with us?
Yeah, basically, just go. I mean, for me, adventure can also be taking your bike with your stuff to like family that live 100 kilometers away from you, like a trip that you would usually do with your car or with a train or with something like that. But if you just take your bike on routes that you would usually not cycle, that's already an adventure, and you can just do it from your doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
um, you can also like, what I like to do is challenge myself, like a route around my house, but just get as much gravel in there as possible. That can already be an adventure. For me, it really energizes me if I find new tracks that are really close to home. I've been cycling for 15 years, like the same roads over and over and over and over again. But
Yeah.
if you still find new spots, that really gives me a kick. But that's my personal thing. For me, route building is like meditation.
Okay.
If I cannot sleep at night, I turn on my commute, and I go like, okay, how high can I go up onto Mount Kilimanjaro, something like that. Just
Yeah.
it calms me.
Is, and that's actually a good question as well. I want to ask you about that. Is that your weapon of choice to do routes? Is it Komoot, or do you
Oh
combine it with some other map functionality or something?
no, just commute actually. Now
Yeah.
they have like Trail Finder, and they have like the street view, so
Hmm.
it's very good. But I must say it's a big difference if you build a route in Komoot in the Netherlands, where a lot of people are using it, or if you make routes in Rwanda or Uganda, where basically no one is using it.
Mm.
So it depends on the region.
Yeah, okay.
But 99% of my routes I make in Komoot. Yeah.
I'll definitely have a try. But I did use it like a couple of times, but it's quite some time ago now, so I will definitely give it a try again.
I know the feeling. I tried it and then I stopped using it. Then I tried it, stopped using it, and I think after 3 or 4 times, I really started to understand the software, and then it got better and better.
Yeah, that's super super cool. So
Yeah,
I presume that already you have big plans for next year. Do you mind sharing some of those with us?
working
What's
on
the
that
big
now.
things
Yeah.
happening?
So yeah, one big massive thing that's going to happen is the Greenland crossing that we were in Norway for last week. So it was basically some training and some video work to go next year in summer to Greenland to be the first ever on the bike to cross the country by bicycle. So there's a big ice cap of 500 kilometers, minus 30 degrees, northern lights. It's going to be super epic, snowstorms, and so yeah, that's going to be super epic. That's going to be one of the main events, I guess, next year.
And how much time do you calculate to do that? Is it like 1 2 weeks, or how much time do you need?
Yeah, yeah. Depending on the weather, obviously, but it's going to take like 10 days. And we'll be
Wow.
doing it with a group of 30 people,
Okay. Okay.
and it's really like an expedition.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
And
really
on fat bikes, then I
on
guess
fat
the
bikes.
only.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
The good Tom, the organizer, he says that 90% of the route is would be doable on a mountain bike.
Mm-hmm.
Like those that last 10%, you need the fat bike for.
Mm.
And you don't really know about the conditions. So if there's a lot of like heavy snowfall, yeah, you need a bit more surface on your tires.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
that's going to be a big one. I like just a couple of minutes ago, I got off the phone with a friend of mine. He's a famous beach racer.
Mm-hmm.
We're planning on making like an ultra from Normandy in France to the most northern tip of the Netherlands, all over the beach. It's like
Ah.
a 600-kilometer beach ride, and there's really a lot of planning with like the tides and with crossing some ports like the port of Antwerp and Rotterdam. So maybe we're going to do that with speedboats, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, projects like that. Also, after last weekend, when I was in the snow, a friend of mine from Egypt, he came up with this event in Lapland. It's an ultra, also
In the Swedish Lapland or
the
in
Swedish
Finland?
Lapland. Yes,
Ah, okay.
crossing the snow, like a 500-kilometer ride. So yeah, basically working on some stuff like that.
That must be so much fun to just have all those things on the calendar and just trying to make them all work.
Yeah,
That's so.
the way we work is basically still the same as when we started with our first project that we did for a couple of free tires.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have our bucket list. We follow our hearts, and we try to include partners with that. Um, and yeah, that works out pretty well actually.
Yeah, that's lovely because I mean, with the passion comes also the good results, right? So I think that must be a perfect way to match it. And that
Yeah,
you're touching upon one of my questions that I had, like a bucket list kind of perspective. What else do you have on there? Is there anything else still to do after next year?
yeah, definitely. Patagonia was still very high on my wish list, so we're planning on doing the Across Andes. It's an ultra
Mm-hmm.
there, but then not just doing the ultra, but also some bikepacking afterwards to make it like a 1 month project. Nepal is really high on my wish list. We were supposed to go to Japan, so that's we postponed it to next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been to Israel once, and it was a beautiful traveling experience. And
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey and I were planning on doing his first ultra there in the mid of November. But yeah, obviously with the
Mm.
current state of the country, yeah, we have to think of something else.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's mainly like destinations that are on my bucket list.
that's super super cool. That's such a cool thing.
So yeah,
Amazing.
we have this unwritten bucket list, and then yeah, we try to search for opportunities in those directions.
Mm-hmm.
One example, last summer I wanted to work remotely for a month, so I was planning on going to Girona, but then I found out like the accommodation is actually relatively expensive, and also to get there it would cost me like 1,500 euros in total with the accommodation and the travel. So then I was like, why not check for the same period of time, check on Google Flights, maybe if there's some other destination. So I found a flight to Rwanda for 500 euros. And Rwanda was something that was really high on my wish list. So I went to Airbnb and to search for an accommodation that was like 400 euros. So I was like, okay, so it's actually cheaper to go to Rwanda than to go to Girona for a month.
That
So
is
then
so
based on my
crazy.
bucket list, I choose to go to Rwanda. And then obviously I had a lot of marketing ideas around the World Championships. So when I was there in Rwanda, I managed to get in good touch with the cycling federation, with the tourism company. Made a lot of friends there, and I managed to do an assignment for this travel agency. So because I went there out of passion, a lot of other opportunities opened up, and I think that only happens if you are positive and if you are looking at opportunities instead of what's not possible.
Exactly. I
And then
love that.
people,
Well,
people say like, "Oh, you're always so lucky," but I'm not. I'm not lucky. I just pay to go to Rwanda for myself, and then because it energizes me and it gives me a lot of ideas. I always end up with either a beautiful experience or business, or in best case the both of it.
I mean, this is such an inspirational conversation. I just can't understand it. It's super super cool, and I think one one thing that I also have to learn is really this. I mean, I try to see things positive, but the way that you see positive things and opportunities is just a completely different level. It's right there. But I have to ask you, on the flip side of the coin, what has been sort of maybe the worst experience or something that has failed when it comes to this? Do you have anything to share there?
Yeah, I think a lot. I mean, one thing was that fairly recently, actually, in January, I gave up my home. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, live as a digital nomad, and just go from assignment to assignment. Then after a while, I found out like, it's not giving me any rest if I have no place to like pack my, like, how do you call it, unpack my suitcase. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't been on the couch since cyclocross, so that was in January. So then I found out like, okay, I really need rest. I just felt that I wasn't myself. I was traveling all over the world, but I was like, this is not it. So then I decided, okay, I need some time in the Netherlands. I postponed the Japan project to next year, for example,
Mm-hmm.
to just be here and give me some rest. So I bought a new house, spent some time with friends and family, because I just needed that. I was just traveling and going from A to B to C the whole time.
Mm.
That's one flip side of the coin. But I always have to experience something like that before, like, yeah, I don't know. I'd rather experience it that way than to not do it because I think something might happen.
Yeah, yeah. And I expressed it a little bit in the wrong way as well because I said failure, right? But I mean, it's usually if you take failures as learnings instead, and then you just evolve or adapt from there. I think it's the best thing that you can do. And
Yeah,
otherwise, if you're not allowing yourself to test yourself like you did now, then you won't learn. You wouldn't know that that's kind of what you need, maybe.
yeah,
So.
yeah. Or like this year we had a massive assignment for a tourist destination, and it was supposed to be the biggest assignment of the year. So based on that income, we made some investment and some choices in production. But then, like 2 weeks before the actual assignment, they pulled out. Stuff like that happens,
Oh.
and that's just nasty because you're not really spending the money, but yeah, I don't know. stuff like that also happens. I mean, that's
Yeah.
life.
I mean, time is money as well. Like your energy, your effort, and planning probably is also that's also worth something. So you shouldn't rule that out as not spending money, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about pressure? Because looking at myself and when I work with partners that I have, I feel a little bit, and that's why I kind of do it only as a hobby and not do professionally, because I don't know how I would actually cope with the actual pressure of delivering something that someone expects on a complete different level. How do you cope with that kind of pressure to be able to produce according to
Bit,
expectations?
yeah, a bit of a mix actually. On
Yeah.
one hand, I need the pressure. Um, yeah, I don't know. I need a bit of pressure now and then to, I don't know, to have more things happening in life.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, when the pressure is too much, it's not nice to do the assignments because there's too much stuff going on and you cannot really enjoy it. Um, so yeah, obviously we often feel like we are enjoying it not as much as we could do because there's pressure of creating the assignments. But 9 out of 10 times, the pressure brings more than it costs.
Has it been times, you don't need to mention what it was, but has it been where you wanted to say no to something, or have said no to something that maybe a partner wanted you guys to do, that you sort of, no, this is not aligned to our principles or how we feel about doing things? Has there been any? Or has
Mm,
it been a smooth ride so far?
Um, well, actually, we'd rather say yes. So then we would say yes, but so because I think in possibilities, and um, if there's a client that says, could you make this and this for us, and if it doesn't really feel right for me, then obviously first I say yes, but then I try to give it my own touch and try saying it like, oh, could you maybe if we do it what you say, but then with a little touch like this or like that, then
Mhm.
it might fit better with us and with our feeling and with our DNA, and that usually works pretty well.
Cool. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So, last question, and that question is maybe something to put you on the spot, because I've tried this in the past and it worked pretty good. Do you have a question for me?
Um, yeah. Well, what feels a bit crazy for me is that you are so incredibly positive and so incredibly inspired by us, while on the other end you are doing a lot more stuff better than we do actually. uh,
Really?
yeah, I think so. Like the how do you say it, the constant flow of nice content and the growing in your reach and that kind of stuff, and that's really nice, especially that you do it as a one-man show. um, So yeah, I don't know. That's not really a question, but that's just something that I actually really look up to.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I will say something to that, and I think I mentioned that when before we started as well. Like, I'm really struggling as well. Like, it's really, as you say, a one man show. I appreciate you guys like being a couple few more, because then it's easier sort of to take pictures of each other and to help out and support and to ideate and to brainstorm and to validate and just all those things. I'm just here in my little bubble, and my wife helps me with ideating sometimes, and then I run things by her. But that's about it. It's just pure luck.
Yeah, but I don't really believe in luck. I
Yeah,
think
maybe not.
luck is always uh, like followed from something good. You create your own luck
Yeah, no, that's very true. That is very true. You do.
with your efforts and your ideas, and obviously you need a little bit of luck, but like to get into position that the luck like works out. Yeah, that's already 99% of the work, I think.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. I think that's something for everyone that listens and watches this. Like, work on your luck. Luck doesn't come for free, right? It's something that you create your own luck. That was someone that said that once, and I think that's very, very true.
Yeah,
There was now that brings back a quote from a famous, very, very famous Swedish downhill skier. His name was Ingmar Stenmark. He won like everything for many years in the 70s, and he said something in the line of a reporter asked him, "So you were lucky today?" He said, "Yeah, it's really weird because the more and more I train, the luckier I get."
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, thank you
I,
very
I,
much,
I
Noel.
just had the same. I was in a video call with the event organizer that we work for a lot, and he was talking about some shots that we made. He said like, "Oh yeah, you were so lucky for that shot." But yeah, because like traditional videographers, they just go to like some highlight points, and we do everything on our bike and create the whole video and edit everything live. And so I was like, no, we were not lucky. We just do the whole route from A to B. Yeah, and then you end up in places where the light is luckily enough perfectly within like over a rock or anything like that.
Hmm,
Um, but already 99% of the work to get in that lucky spot, yeah, it's not luck.
exactly.
Obviously, at that point, it's luck to be in that spot with that light and everything. But yeah, I don't really believe in luck. You just need
Yeah,
to work hard and to just take every opportunity that you can.
exactly. And I think you have created your own luck with your approach, and that's so inspiring. Thank you very much, Noel. This has been a blessing to talk to you. Yeah, thank you very much for joining, and I hope to see you again in person in the future somewhere on a bike.
Yeah. Most important thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks a lot for having me, and thanks for your kind words. And yeah, I think we can continue talking for hours and hours. But if I can already inspire one person, that's already a big win for me. So.
Hey guys, thank you for joining, and thank you, Noel, for being on the show. It's been amazing. I've learned so much, and your perspective of life in general and luck in particular is so insightful, and I appreciate that a lot. Don't miss out on where you can find Fat Pigeon, fatpigeon.cc on Instagram and fatpigeon.cc on YouTube. I will also link to everything in the description below and or in the show notes. And what do you guys think? Is luck something that you make for yourself, or can you actually be lucky? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys, and see you next week.